All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to our additional episode that we have of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Good evening here on the East Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Troy. And as you know, we do have a special guest with us tonight. So give me one moment and I'll introduce them on. All right, so I would like to introduce our guest, Michael DeVorzon. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Brandon Troy, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, first off, thanks for hopping on the show. Just to start first, can you just talk about this film, Her Daily Groom, and how you joined this project?
Yeah, so I auditioned for the movie, and the scenes that I did for the audition, there was one where he was very much the romantic leading man type, and then there was the other scene where he was a complete menace, inflicting massive pain, upon another human being. So I thought it was an interesting role, being the duality, of those two sides of him. And when they called me and offered me the part, and I read the script, I thought this is a really interesting script. I thought it was well written, and I thought this would be a very challenging character to take on. So that's how it came to be.
Absolutely, and to speak further to that, as you were mentioning, in that auditioning process, that duality of having that menacing edge, but yet also having that capacity that kind of draws you in. Can you talk to that? Because I know a lot of times when in speaking with other artists when it comes to villainous roles, a lot of times you have two capacities to it. On one hand, for some roles, there are those parts where, yeah, even though the character is villainous in their own mind, they consider themselves the hero of their story. But in other respects, a lot of times, a lot of that is just thrown out the window, and it's just a role that's allows you just to have that mustache twirling aspect. So can you talk a bit about, in terms of that approach to this character and that duality, which on which alignment it fell for you?
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, he wasn't just a straight up villain. I mean, in the sense of, he wasn't a henchman that worked for the mafia, and all you see him do is take out people, and that's it. So he had to have this other side, which had to be believable enough that the female lead would fall in love with him, and he portrayed himself to be a nice guy. He portrayed himself to be a very successful guy, and just somebody looking for love, So yeah, my approach was, you always have to bring yourself, to these characters, and so for the parts with Kate Watson, where I was trying to romance her and do all this, I was just trying to bring myself and the character into those circumstances and try to keep it light and try to have fun and try to, say the right thing, the character to say the right thing so that she would believe me, so that she would fall for me. So, and so, in those moments, I had to kind of try to keep it light versus you know, if I got too dark in some of those scenes, it might, you know, she might smell a rat. So that's kind of how I approach those scenes. And then the other scenes, where, you know, we see this psychopath of a character, you know, I did some research, you know, I watched some movies, I did some research, and, you know, most people like that are psychopaths or serial killers, or they, you know, they lack remorse. They're not, they lack sympathy. They lack the ability to decipher right from wrong. And like I think you touched on is a lot of villains don't really think that they're villains. They are doing what they have to do to survive. So I think this character is no exception. He you know, is doing what he has to do to survive, and he has an objective. And if you get in his way, you're going to get taken out. And that's just the way he operates. It's that old survival, you know, instinct. So, you know, these characters, many times, these people, we're talking about real people, real life people, you know, most of them have had pain inflicted upon them. And then they inflict pain upon other people. Now, fortunately for me, I've had a pretty good life. I didn't have a lot of pain inflicted upon me. However, I do have an inner turmoil that I you know, have. I do have an inner rage. And so for me, in those scenes, it was just about tapping into my own insanity, my own pain, my own turmoil, and just letting, you know, just letting myself go, and playing with the subtleties, you know, the subtleties of how I approach that.
Gotcha. And as you said, doing that researching piece, did a lot of it come from, I know there obviously there was a lot there that was in the script that you were able to pull from, but in terms of that researching piece that you were, you know, touching on, did it involve touching or researching folks that were con artists, or looking into a lot of those notorious figures that had those qualities?
I watched 3 films before I started filming. I watched No Country for Old Men. I hadn't seen it in years, and I wanted to kind of see what Javier Bardem did with that character, who was a cold-blooded killer, and the subtleties into which he played that, you know. And I watched American Psycho with Christian Bale, which is a very different kind of performance. And then I watched the Ted Bundy movie, you know, and did some, you know, research online. So yeah, I mean, my main thing going into it was, I know I'm going to have these scenes where I'm very menacing, and how am I going to go about those scenes? Because, you know, it's really easy just to be like, I'm going to go crazy, you know, I'm going to go crazy here, you know, and act crazy. But, you know, approaching some of those scenes with
Nuance, you know, yeah, can make it that, yeah,
with a more subtle nuances, and kind of like this, almost kind of like he's a creature of habit, you know, like it's no thing, you know, he does this all the time, you know, he's been doing this for years, and that kind of that was kind of the approach. So yeah, I didn't get the chance to meet any real life psychopaths, at least not that I know of.
okay.
You know, not that I know of. I mean, I do know some interesting people. They might be psychopaths, but no, I think they're all good people.
Awesome. And talking further on the project, there's such a a unique ensemble that you have with you. So can you also talk to that as well? You know, aside from, you know, the talents that you bring, also having those co-stars that you had as a part of that team and bringing this project together.
Yeah, well, you know, it was even though we were filming a thriller and there was a lot of, you know, at times, not throughout the whole movie, you know, there was violence and stuff like that. It was very much a family like environment when we were shooting. Um, really good vibe. Everybody was giving it their all. It was great, you know, working with Kate Watson, who plays Allison, and it was great to have Eric Roberts, you know, on the movie. He's a great, you know, really fun actor to watch and to work opposite of. And it was a very cool vibe. Like, and then the kids who played the daughter and the boyfriend, and you know, everybody, like, if I was to describe it, like, there was no ego on set. You know, everybody was there to do the best that they could. Everyone was there to be helpful and like see how can we make this scene, this movie, you know, the best that we can make it. So yeah, I did a lot of scenes with Kate, as you know, and she was a great person to work with. And then, you know, the scene with Eric Roberts, which is, I just had the one scene with him, but I spent quite a bit of time with him, you know, hanging out, talking just about life and about football. But yeah, you know, it's always great when you have an actor of that caliber because it gives you a lot to work off of, you know, and that's where you get into that. It's like a duel. It's like a sword duel, you know. And so he gave me a lot to work with, you know, he gave me a lot to work with, and everybody did. And the director, Jared Cohen's great also to work with. He was really good at guiding us through these scenes, and especially the scenes that had a lot of action, you know.
Definitely. So I'm gonna go on a quick tangent. Looks like you have a friend that's on here, Mr. Jeremy. Hello. I guess CrossFit buddy. Hello, Jeremy. I guess
Jay Plumley, what up, buddy?
But coming back, I've found it fascinating, and all the folks that have been on the show talking about what the industry has looked like as of late. I know things are slowly starting to pick back up, and you are seeing whether it's productions that are independent or even major productions, they are starting to open back up and to begin production. So with that being said, what does it look like currently with you with some of the projects that are currently in progress outside of Her Deadly Groom?
So, you know, I was lucky to get this movie in the can, and then another movie right after we shot this one several months later called Fast and Fierce Death Race, which was an action movie with DMX. So both of those came out during the lockdown, you know, during the pandemic.
Right.
I don't have anything on the books as of yet, but yeah, I mean, my thoughts are it's going to be a slow progress. You know, to get back to the way things were. I think it's a great time for independent filmmakers because film shoots that are more contained with a smaller crew, you know, less buttons and whistles, you know, you can, you know, those are going to be, it's a great time. It's a great time for independent filmmaking. As far as the bigger movies, you know, there's some really smart people out there. I'm sure they're going to figure out a way, but you know, it seems like there's going to be more of a learning curve, you know, on those. If you're shooting something that, you know, requires 2,000 background actors, you know, charging through the field, you know, like there's a lot to consider as far as safety when you're. But I've heard some things about how they're going to go about it, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. I mean, I think what would be great is just to do just go complete opposite and just do a comedy. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know you think I'm Vincent Black, but check this out. We're just gonna do like straight comedy, you know, like
absolutely.
Because I got a big love for comedy, you know, and that's actually what made me want to be an actor. You know, was the old Pink Panther movie. So
yeah.
you know, who knows? They may call and say, we need somebody like Vincent Black. Can you do that crazy kill people thing? You know, and I'll be like, all right. Or you never know. You know, he's got to stay open. I may, you know, get to do some comedy.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But with that being said, I'm going to cap it off there. I want to thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for coming on Movers and Shakers Unlimited and chatting about her Daily Groom. I understand that it will have an encore happening this weekend on Lifetime. So it will be arriving this weekend. Outside of that, before I let you go, can you tell folks where they can where folks can find you?
Yeah, so like you said, Groom does her Deadly Groom airs again tomorrow, twice on Lifetime, and then it's also on VOD everywhere, Amazon Prime, iTunes, everywhere. But yeah, I'd love to connect with you guys. I'm my Instagram and my Twitter is Michael DVZ, and I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, cool. Well, there you guys have it. Again, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, guys, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. You can find us on Facebook, which you are watching now. However, you could also find us on Instagram at Movers Shakers Unlimited, on Twitter at Move and Shake UNLTD. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Choi ENT and Instagram at Brandon Choi _ENT. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there. See you soon. Bye.